What's up, you guys? Just on my way to the gym. I'm actually like right around the corner from the gym. I just mixed my Red Bull in my prime, so I am ready to go. This is probably going to be our first episode to that road to 500 squat. What is it? I just benched yesterday, so I'm not exactly trying to go too hard today. I'm not trying to kill myself. We're gonna start off with, I know like hypertrophy, I gotta get my legs a little more developed, a little more muscular. Like they're big and they got potential, but they're not cut, they're not all they could be. So I know a good portion of this in the beginning is just focusing on that hypertrophy and just working on the individual characteristics like the quads, the hamstrings, even the adductors to a degree. So that's what we're going in here to do today. Like I said, I mixed, maybe I should put my window up. I mixed the Prime and the Red Bull, so I'm ready to go. I'm not as tired as I thought I was going to be after benching yesterday. I am a little tired, but we'll see. I'm doing this because I want to switch it up, right? I like the road to 315. I think you guys did, but I think we can switch up the format. Mostly, I think this like pre and post workout commentary, it's gold, first of all, because I can tell you straight up, I had to be reminded of it yesterday. Your confidence when you touch a weight matters, right? So if you're not feeling hype, if you're not feeling excited, that is indubitably, wow, it is packed out in this gym today. It is indubitably gonna show up in your performance. And so you gotta be confident, right? And sometimes I feel that, in the pre-workout, when you're getting all hype in the music. I think today might be one of those days. But then the post-workout commentary too, before all the blood, leaves my muscles while the brain is like still functioning top tier. I think there's some good commentary that with the road to 315, I kind of realized I kind of sucked, and I apologize, you guys. I kind of sucked horribly when it came to like getting the footage out on time. And I'm learning like, hey, that footage is a lot better if you just record right afterwards, right? Everything's fresh. You don't need time to think about it because you did it for a reason. You should know that reason. You should be able to articulate that reason. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna turn the music back on, put my shoes on, and go squat. You guys are gonna have to forgive my voice. I have no idea, but I seem to have trashed it. And I wanna get this video recorded, at least while everything's fresh in my head. So we're just gonna run with it. We're getting right into the workout. You see me squatting 315 for 8 reps. This is my first leg day in about 10 days. I kind of cut the other one short. I didn't actually do a leg day at the end of before I did my last deload, just because it wasn't the goal, right? I was trying to let my chest recover, and I didn't really feel like racking up too much more fatigue in that period of time. And I knew that I had this coming right around the corner. Hindsight is 20/20. Probably should have tapered instead of deload, but you live, you learn. Next time around, we'll do it. But seeing as how this is my first leg day in a while, I just kind of want to test the water, see where my leg's at. I find that in the past, like I kind of experimented with my leg training, I can get away with a lot, right? Like, one, I can handle a little bit higher volume. That's because legs are bigger muscles, so they can handle a little more of fatigue. But two, like, I keep saying like a lot. I don't know. It's maybe in my head, but I really feel like it helps me. Even if I work up to like a heavy single on my legs, that next week when I come back, I don't take the weight as high, and I feel like that heavy single has kind of like shown my body what it feels like to move heavy weight, and it helps me get a little bit of higher reps, right? So we're doing these squats. As the workout went on, I did progressively feel not worse, right? I felt decent, but I realized my mistake, not this set, but the next. I just went too heavy. I should have stayed low after coming back and just aimed for a moderate amount of reps. We're talking like 8, maybe 10 is pushing it. But I went too high in the weight. That's my fault. Got too excited. But you got to stick to the plan, right? Got to stick to the plan to make progress. You got to plan for a reason. You see me doing my hip abductors here with the cable. I tend to like the cable machine a little better than the machine where you sit down and you kind of squeeze your legs with the pads and whatever. It just feels better. I've maxed out that machine in the past, and like it feels good for your ego. But versus trying the same exercise or a similar exercise on the cable where that weight is tethered and it's being pulled in that direction against the muscle or the opposite direction, I find the cable a lot more effective. I don't have to go nearly as heavy, and I feel it, right? Like I'm using 20 pounds here versus maybe 180, 200 pounds on a hip abductor machine. I don't have to go for as high reps. I really like these. This is definitely a personal issue and something I'd like to work on seriously in these upcoming weeks when I fix my squat, right? I want to fix my stance. I want to kind of just figure out what is good for me, right? How far do I want my toes out? Am I a narrow squatter? Am I a wide squatter? Uh, I am a short person by nature. My legs are short, but I have like, in case you haven't noticed, like, as my girlfriend would say, like, I have a dump truck. Like, I have an abnormally large butt and it just won't go away, right? Like, even when I was starved, like 180 pounds, and my body would give up my beloved muscle, it would not give up that ass. And so, like, that is stuck with me. And maybe this is cope, right, for not knowing how to squat effectively for my body type. But, like, I feel like my hips and all that, like, it throws me off, right? Sometimes my squat stance doesn't feel right, and I feel it in my hip flexors. They start to get tight, and it's kind of an irritating thing to deal with. But I'd really like to work on my stance, kind of fixing my stance, and that comes with getting a better idea of how to squat with a body type such as mine. And here is that heavy set, right? I did 1 rep. I had intentions of going for 5. This was my second set. Like, I did 1 set of 5 at 340. Had enough sense to know I shouldn't go higher. Came for the next set, and, like, I don't know. I probably punked out here. Like, I am not one to squat if I'm not confident in my ability to handle the weight. Like, I'm really not trying to wreck my back over some weight. Like, it's just what it is. I punked out, so I put the bar back. I know I punked out for sure when I hit this set, 225 for 1. This felt heavy, like, so I'm just like, at that point, I'm just like, screw it, I'm done. You kind of messed up the sauce for today, and it is what it is, right? Got some heavy training in. It did deal some amount of effective stimulus. It could have been better, just what we work on. But, like, with that kind of degradation between sets, in that case, I would just cut an exercise, right? So I cut the squats. I just went on to work in some unilateral functions. I still wanted to hit my quads. I really like barbell squats for lunges, just because as opposed to the dumbbells, well, one, you have them on both hands, they're a counterbalance. With the barbell, it's opposite. Like, the barbell is going to work your balance. And with that, like, when I'm squatting that lead foot, you can't really see because of the rack. It really makes me focus on keeping those 3 points of contact with my foot, and I can see which foot is the lagging muscle, right? I can see which one I need to pay a little more attention to or what I need to work on. Because if one foot is slipping around a lot more than the other in the lunge, it's probably going to be an issue when you're squatting heavy, right? So that's why I like these lunges. That's why I incorporate them with a barbell. And I just feel like you can go heavier, right? Like, when you have dumbbells, the limiting factor in how much you can carry is going to be your forearms, right? Your forearm and your grip. You try grabbing 200-pound dumbbells and seeing how that feels to lunge. The only thing I will add about the lunges is I noticed today, more so than before, I really want that front foot a little higher. Like, I didn't feel like I was going deep enough into the ground. I had a knee pad below my right foot, to save my knee from slamming into the ground with 200 pounds on my back. But I didn't feel like that front leg was getting enough of a stretch in my quad. So I want to try maybe stepping on a step to get a little bit more of a stretch there. You see me doing some GHRs. These I like to do 2 ways. You saw me with the weight hanging below me. That kind of challenges your forearms. And it's hard to describe. So let me think about it and I'll try to articulate it better. But it feels different when the weight is in your forearms versus when you have the weight on your back, your shoulders. That feels like it works more of your lower back. Still your hamstrings, but a little more lower back. It feels like a good morning, to be honest. But here, I'm just trying to be explosive. I'm just trying to work and focus on squeezing my glutes and, like, getting those hamstrings to really go. The blood was really pumping. My hamstrings were on fire. So I'm just trying to get that over with before I stand up. The next clip, what I'm doing, some pull-off presses, right? These are an anti-rotation core exercise. I think I said this before. I don't really have a dedicated core day because I don't feel like it's that important. But, that's because most of us, and myself included, that's why I'm saying this, kind of believe in the core in the wrong way. Like, The utility of the core is not aesthetic. It's not to look nice. The utility of the core is to keep your spine and your midsection safe, right? And so with that being said, I like to work on anti-extension on one leg day and then anti-rotation. So that's what these are. I've been trying these out for a couple weeks. I really like them. I really feel them in my obliques, and it feels nice to get that kind of stretch on my spine, honestly. Just that twisting. You want to kind of keep your legs a little wide in that split stance and just focus on twisting your torso, getting that full rotation from side to side. So I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit and kind of talk about or speak about the things that I'd like to really focus on these next couple months, just to ensure that my squat is improving, is getting top tier. I know one of them is I have really large legs, both in the front and the back, and they're large, but they seem undefined, compared to my chest. You can see my abdominal muscles or my arm, where you can at least make out a tricep and a bicep. My legs aren't really like that unless I have a pump. And so I believe, focusing on some hypertrophic work, getting a lot more definition in my legs. Well, one, it's going to look nicer, but two, it's also going to be more effective in just helping me get stronger, right? Produce more force with the legs. So that is a really big goal of mine these first couple months, definitely, before we start to transition into strength. But I'm going to switch things up anyway. But focusing on getting more defined legs. Another thing, and this is kind of being addressed with the lunges. It's why I like them so much. And this could be kind of twofold, right? I do believe my shoes do have some impact. I'm a little rough on my stuff. I left my shoes outside because they stunk one day, so air them out. They've gotten wet. They gotten rained on. I still wear them. But my shoes, and this is all modern shoes, I believe, to a degree, the front end is tilted up. And so, my foot doesn't rest all the way on the ground. And this is probably where squat shoes come in, weightlifting shoes that are made for this type of job to be flat. My foot doesn't come all the way on the ground, and that makes it a complete annoyance to try to maintain those 3 points of contact during my squatting, right? So I want to fix, my foot placement on the ground. I want to work on my hip stance when it comes to squatting. Another thing, I really want to find out what is the limiting factor in my squat, right? Is it my back that is weak, or is it my legs that are weak, right? I honestly have no idea. To some degree, I do believe it is my legs, right? Just because, why not? But when I look at my deadlift isn't relatively high, and it seems like most of those issues are coming from my back, right? So my deadlift is suffering from my back not being strong enough. But I've seen myself good morning do a squat before, right? When it gets heavy, use that back to kind of leverage myself up. So I think if I can find out which one is the limiting factor, it will make me that much more effective in targeting it and thus getting stronger. So this is just the first video to that road to 500. I tried a couple new things like that, pre-workout commentary. I got inspired by Sam Sulek. I tried lifting the weights. So let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe.